Josh George here, doing non-New Year's Six Bowl predictions. If you want to go back to the playlist to get a deeper analysis of some of these teams, you can absolutely do that. We're just doing straight bowl predictions, and if you want to get their regular season record predictions, which tie into these, you can, like I said, go back and look at the playlist. I've done all of the conferences. I've even done a top 25 video to go along with it. So, without further ado, in the Bahamas Bowl, look, the Bahamas Bowl, I've got, it features a Conference USA team and the MEAC. And I figured NIU would match up against FAU, and just based purely on having the better defense, I've got FAU. Now, to the Cure Bowl. Look, Memphis and Appalachian State is who I would have in the Cure Bowl, and this is an American Conference versus either the Sun Belt MEAC Conference USA, and I dove into the Sun Belt and thought Appalachian State would be a good, interesting matchup. And push come to shove, I picked Memphis. Now, North Carolina and Western Kentucky. This is who I have in the Fenway Bowl. The Fenway Bowl is an interesting bowl that features that the ACC gets a bid to, and they play against either the American Conference or Conference USA. So, and it takes place in Boston, but I feel like the ACC is going to win this, and so I got North Carolina beating Western Kentucky in the Fenway Bowl. Now, the Celebration Bowl, you can see it features the MEAC versus the SWAC. Look, I feel like JSU, Jackson State, gets its revenge in this one, so there you go. Now, the New Mexico Bowl, I feel like it'll be Utah State and James Madison's first ever bowl appearance. They would be a 6-5 team if you go back and look at my predictions, and I had James Madison winning their first ever bowl game. Now the LA Bowl, obviously it's the Pac-12 in the Mountain West. It's only been around for a couple years, and it's just, I feel like the bigger conference wins. I feel like Oregon State will have been through more battles, so to speak, against, let's see, a little bit better competition. LendingTree Bowl. Look, I think Buffalo and Georgia State would be a great matchup, and that's who I have in the LendingTree Bowl. And the run of Georgia State is the reason I've got them winning the game. And then the Las Vegas Bowl, I've got Washington State and Tennessee. Look, it's a long trip for Tennessee fans, but I think that they're one to travel, and I think if they can get a lot of fans there, they can have an impact, and I think Hendon Hooker gets it done, and they would win the Las Vegas Bowl. Now, the Frisco Bowl, this is a matchup that are two brands that are just very intriguing. A group of 5 teams right now. Boise State, obviously, has really been a team that has been top 25 on the cusp of that several years. And then Coastal Carolina has been right there. And it's just the option play of Coastal Carolina. And I think that they might have a year that's a little lower, where they don't quite rise to expectations. So winning a big bowl game, I think, could atone for that, so to speak. But I've got Coastal Carolina winning the Frisco Bowl. Now, the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Look, Tulsa and Kent State is who I have matching up, and it's just Tulsa will have, they've just got a little more talent than Kent State in the 247 talent composite. I've got Tulsa winning it. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. I've got Central Michigan and Fresno State. Two teams that really match up. I think they would really match up really well on paper, but after almost winning a conference championship, I think Fresno State would be really hungry and would go out there and win the bowl game. Then the Boca Raton Bowl. I've got it featuring North Texas and Colorado State. Two teams. Look, Texas, this would be a good travel for them. Be a big travel, but I feel like that they're a little bit closer, so I feel like they get the home field advantage and North Texas wins. Now to the New Orleans Bowl. I've got this featuring Marshall and UTSA. Look, this one comes down really to how well could Marshall defend this offense. And I think that they can do it, so I've got them winning the New Orleans Bowl. The Armed Forces Bowl. UAB will have had a really good season. They'll probably be on the cusp of top 30. They'll be one of the top 30 teams probably in the country. And, of course, Army, I had them in the top 25. It's the Armed Forces Bowl, so I picked the Armed Force. I picked Army to win that one. Now, the Independence Bowl. Liberty kind of sneaks in a spot where Notre Dame might get a bid, and then SMU, of course, representing the American Conference. And because it's the Independence Bowl, I picked the Independent. I have Liberty over Southern Methodist. And then the Gasparilla Bowl. This is an interesting matchup. Virginia Tech and Kentucky. You know, it'll be interesting to see if this happens, who's sitting out and who's serious. I just feel like Mark Stoops is the better coach and gets it done. The Hawaii Bowl. San Diego State and UTEP play in the newly named Easy Post. Because San Diego State is so much closer to Hawaii, they make the trip. More fans will be there, therefore they win. The Quick Lane Bowl. Now, I had Arizona State replacing the Big Ten because I had the Big Ten teams taking other bids, taking bigger bowls and things like that. The Quick Lane Bowl, since it's so close to Christmas, is one that I feel like kind of gets shoved down. And so they would pick up Arizona State. And, of course, the MEAC Toledo represented the MEAC in this one. But, of course, I have the major conference winning. I've got Arizona State winning the Quick Lane Bowl. Now, the Carmella Bowl. Again, the Louisiana Raging Cajun, of course, against Miami of Ohio. And, of course, you can see where it's in Montgomery, Alabama. Home team is from Louisiana. They've just get the home fans. It's so important in bowl games. I've got them winning. Now, the First Responders Bowl has Big 12, American Conference, and ACC ties. Here, I've got it matching up Houston, who's about to be in the Big 12, and currently in the American Conference, matching up against the ACC in Louisville. And I just feel like Houston gets a boost going into next year and gets the win in the First Responders Bowl after beating an Auburn team in their last bowl game. Now, UCF and Ole Miss in the Birmingham Bowl. The Birmingham Bowl, to me, is really interesting. A lot of SEC teams like Auburn didn't take it last year. They don't take it seriously. And at my predictions, I had Ole Miss at 9 wins. They get to 10 wins so rarely that I don't think that they will do it this year. So I've got them losing in a bowl game to Central Florida. Now, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, has ties with the Big 10 and the Big 12. Since BYU is an independent, I have them getting the invite from the bowl because they're about to be a Big 12 team, and it semi-makes sense. So, because there's just kind of a lack of Big 12 teams that are just in general right now. So, I've got BYU winning against Maryland. I feel like they're barely in the top 25. If they can slow down Tagovailoa, they'll get the win. Now the Military Bowl. Military is one of the most lenient bowls. It does have ties with the American Conference trying to get Navy. It looks for Army, but it doesn't technically have Mount West ties. But I think that they would invite Air Force just because it's the Military Bowl. And then I feel like trying to find an even match with kind of who's left over at different bowls, I think they end up getting Toledo. And, of course, the military team will win the bowl. Air Force beats Toledo. Now to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So I have this one featuring South Carolina and Spencer Rattler against West Virginia and transfer quarterback JT Daniels. It's just going to come down to quarterback play, and I think Rattler beats JT Daniels. The Holiday Bowl, I predicted to match up Boston College and UCLA. This is a lot of travel, to travel all the way across the country from Boston to California. Well, you can see it's in San Diego. California school will be right there. UCLA gets it done. The Tax Act, Texas Bowl, Big 12, SEC, future SEC team, Texas against current SEC team, Texas A&M. They match up once again, and when you look at my top 25, you'll see where they finished really close. I can see the Texas Bowl really trying to get this together, as a good matchup. And I went with the Longhorns of Texas beating Texas A&M. Now the Pinstripe Bowl. Look, this game features two teams that are, blue blood-esque. The team of the 90s versus the team of the 80s. And two teams with a lot of history. It'll be Scott Frost's first bowl game. I think he gets it done. The Cheez-It Bowl, Pittsburgh and Kansas State. Look, Pittsburgh is an inexperienced team where Kansas State will really have the experience. And so for that reason, I've got Kansas State winning the Cheez-It Bowl. Now, in the Alamo Bowl, I've got it featuring Baylor and Washington. Once again, Alamo Bowl, those Baylor and Texas fans, going to be close. Going to be the home team. Baylor wins the Alamo Bowl. The Duke's Mayo Bowl, featuring Duke and Iowa. Just because it's Duke, I don't have them winning the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I've got them kind of sneaking into a bowl game anyways. And I've got Iowa getting it done. Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Look, two brands that I find very interesting and two teams that I think would really match up well. I think Bo Nix against Freeman's defense would just be an interesting combination. Notre Dame and Oregon. I've got Notre Dame and the defense stopping Bo Nix. So, to the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Wake Forest and Arkansas. It's really going to be an interesting matchup. What can KJ do? I think he gets the win for Arkansas. I've got them beating Wake Forest. The Arizona Bowl, Nevada and Eastern Michigan. Just kind of a late-in-the-year bowl that just throws two group of 5 teams out there. I feel like Eastern Michigan gets the edge. I feel like their offensive line is better than the defensive line of Nevada. I've got Eastern Michigan. The Music City Bowl in Nashville, Tennessee. I have it featuring Mississippi State and Purdue. Look, when it came down to it, I picked Mississippi State, and sometimes Will Rogers and this offense has a tendency to struggle, but I think in the bowl game, with extra practices, they find a way to get it done. Now, the Tampa Bay Bowl. We used to know this one as it used to have a different name, but it's the Tampa Bay Bowl this year. I've got it featuring Florida and Penn State. Look, a highly rated Florida team against a probably underrated Penn State team. I have them getting it done and beating the Gators. Now, to LSU and Wisconsin in the Citrus Bowl. Look, it could be a really interesting game. Brian Kelly's first year against a team that's going to probably be have a top 5 rushing attack and maybe probably a top 5 defense. I think there's too much talent on this Wisconsin team. I think they get the win over LSU. Now, for the New Year's 6 Bowls, that'll be in a different video, and I'll have the playoff predictions in that. I'm Josh George. This was my bowl prediction video.